The 5th anniversary of the Iraq War, marked with a speech by its Chicken Little creator, President Bush, coinciding with a cranky interview by its mother hen, Vice President Cheney. But in our number one story in the countdown, from the war's principal media cheerleaders, nary a peep. Exhibit number one, comedian Rush Limbaugh, who spent the better part of his radio show today disparaging Senator Obama, including the supposed white guilt encouraged by Senator Obama's speech on race yesterday. Limbaugh's fixation with Jeremiah Wright official he's awarded with a daily segment. Fox News' coverage of the war, 5th anniversary or otherwise, equally minimal, largely tangential. A lengthy segment today with the banner, Obama slams Iraq war in major speech. Better to angle each story along the lines of the war's critics than the war's catastrophes. Yet even with Fox noise, the shame seems to lie somewhere under the surface. Once President Bush's speech this morning was over, it was pretty much ignored. Fox did have time to squeeze in Senator McCain's visit with Israeli leaders, as well as dozens of other stories having nothing to do with Iraq, all par for the course. Just yesterday, the Project for Excellence in Journalism released its annual report on the news media. In 2007, Fox's total coverage of the Iraq War was about half of ours at MSNBC. And then there's Billo, whose big thing today was the O'Reilly Culture Quiz. To exchange bitter sarcasm with me, a pleasure as always to welcome Air America radio host and MSNBC political analyst Rachel Maddow. Good evening.
Hi, Keith.
So, time to crow about how great this 5-year-long war is doing at its midpoint. Where's Limbaugh? Where's Fix News?
I was on the Fox News website just before I came into the studio, and I think we should note that there's a lot of competition for news real estate right now. I was very drawn in by their front page feature on a man in Australia who constructed a robot that shot him in his driveway. Okay. I mean, we may be 5 years into the worst foreign policy disaster in a generation, but there are killer robots in Australian driveways that need covering.
And they have attachments to sharks, too.
Yeah,
sharks with robots
At
that land
moment,
robots.
The shark element could come into the story. They'll be on it.
Now, to be fair from Fox, Bill O'Reilly has not, in this 5 years, ignored war. Just maybe not the Iraq war.
He has been embedded on the front lines. He has been willing to do a lot of war reporting, actually, to be fair. It's just that his war of focus has really been the war on Easter, and to a lesser extent the war on Christmas, and so that has not left a lot of time for the killing wars.
And don't forget the war on porn stars, hookers, and strippers, and the war on against facial recognition features, you know, those body language experts.
Right.
We got that war covered, too.
There's a lot of wars to cover, and you got to pick your battles. And he's decided that Iraq and Afghanistan are for others to cover.
And that network strategy is attack the war's critics, equate actual coverage with a lack of patriotism. That's the selling point all this time?
I think so. I mean, yes. In all seriousness, don't forget that it was Bill O'Reilly who claimed that it is actually bad to cover the war. He's the guy who said, I looked it up to be sure, he said, does a bombing of Tikrit really mean anything?
Yeah, if you're in Tikrit, it sure as hell
Yeah,
does.
it really does. And if you're an American soldier there, or if you're an Iraqi there, it means a lot. So, I mean, if the quantity of news coverage about the war decreases, that's easier to qualitatively skew the coverage so it says more of the story you want to tell rather than the pesky story about, dead people.
But of course it doesn't matter, as we heard from Vice President Cheney. This ultimate response today, when the war's champions are confronted with the reality that 2/3 of us think it hasn't been worth it. So, he said, I think you cannot be blown off course by the fluctuations in the public opinion polls. Apart from the whole let them eat cake or something worse quality to the thing, isn't the point here that there have not been fluctuations in the public opinion polls, that from 5 years ago tonight it has been a straight line in one sense or another downhill in terms of public acceptance, tolerance for this crap war?
And the people of the United States and the people of Iraq have been remarkably unified on thinking that this war is a bad idea and that U.S. troops ought to leave Iraq as soon as possible. They've been remarkably unified on that. Dick Cheney has never cared. I don't even think he's saying the war is going well because he wants us to believe that, because he wants us to convince us. I don't think he cares what we think. I think for him, the war really has gone well. I think $110 barrel oil, $110 for a barrel of oil, and Western oil companies getting their mitts on Iraq's oil instead of Iraq controlling it. That's a good war. That's an occasion to go, fishing on the yacht of the Sultan of Oman.
Just the savings that the ex-Halliburton subsidiary KBR made on the taxes on the payroll for their employees who are listed in the Cayman Islands made this a great war for Dick Cheney.
It has been. It's an occasion for celebration today.
Rachel Maddow of MSNBC and Air America, always a pleasure. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.